Oceans. The last wild, untamed place on Earth. With water covering 70% of our planet, and yet only 5% explored, the seas are modern adventurers' last playground.
Being on the boat, there's only one thing better than that, it's being with your family.
Alicante, Spain sees the start of the Volvo Ocean Race around the globe, nearly 500 years after Ferdinand Magellan's fateful first attempt. 7 international teams are racing over 70,000 kilometers in some of the world's most hostile and remote environments.
The furthest from land you can possibly get on the planet.
They're sailing 24/7.
It's undescribable. It's just relentless.
Fighting storm, cold, exhaustion.
I can't hear this air anymore because it's been hit by so much water.
Each other.
Can you have an excellent sailor but still be a pain in the ass?
The correct answer is yes. I've sailed with a few.
And risking their lives.
Don't leave without me!
Giving everything to win one of the toughest races on the planet.
It's pretty rough.
This is their story.
This race affects your life forever. For me, it has changed me a lot. I would not be the same person. There's no doubt about that. We go through storms, you go through all these weather systems, you go through danger, and it's an amazing experience. For me, I would never have been without it. You know, it's fantastic.
Like most offshore sailors, Knut has this race in his blood. It has been a defining part of his life for over 2 decades.
I've done the race 4 times. 3 times I went all the way around the world, and the 4th time I did half. And I kept coming back and back and back. For me, it's the combination of being out at sea, which I love doing. It's the competition part of it. And it's the fact that you're doing it with a group of extremely passionate people.
But such extreme passion has a price. And he's well aware of the sacrifice it imposes on his whole family.
Well, I think to do this race is quite a selfish thing. I mean, you clearly don't do it because you want to socialize with people on land. I mean, you do it because of this challenge that you have for yourself, really. It's about being in the middle of nature and deal with whatever is thrown at you. That's exactly what the race is about. It's a drug, you know. It's a drug, and you get addicted to it, and then it's just difficult to say no.
Alicante, Spain is the modern home of the Volvo Ocean Race headquarters since 2009. It's right here where teams are now preparing for the 12th edition. But it's in Portsmouth, 1,800 kilometers away on the south coast of England, that it all started. The story goes that the race was born around a pint of beer in a good old British pub, when Colonel Bill Whitbread and Admiral Otto Steiner decided to create a round-the-world yacht race. The first race started from Portsmouth in September 1973 and featured yachts that were built more to cruise the Mediterranean Sea than to cross the Southern Ocean. Crewed by a mix of experienced sailors and daredevils, it was the beginning of an incredible adventure. Since then, the yachts have advanced into state-of-the-art speed machines with little comfort for the crew, packed with leading-edge technology. For the first time in the race's history, teams are competing in a one-design boat, the PO65. The sailors and their skills will be the deciding factor. This race will be won by the best crew. More a marathon than a sprint, the race is divided into 9 legs or sections, crossing 4 oceans and passing 5 continents. It's 9 intense months of dramatic ocean racing. One of the teams from the previous race is back to upgrade on a disappointing performance last time.
I am competitive in everything I do. I always try to think of a faster way of doing things, more efficient way of doing things. Doesn't matter whether it's something around the house or a sport or something in business or anything. Always trying to do things better or faster than someone else.
No.
Double Olympic silver medalist Ian Walker knows that the one design boat makes it much more of a level playing field.
I certainly feel that in this race we have every chance of winning the race. You know, we've got the same boats as everybody else, we've got a great bunch of people, we've had a really good training program. I wouldn't change anything that we've done because I know that we're going to be in good shape.
Nice in. Keep your arms straight.
With the same boat and same sails, it's the crew that will make the difference.
We've got a very experienced team, I think 20 Volvo Ocean Races between us. But you can't just have a load of old farts as well, you've got to have some young guys. So, you know, having guys like Adel, having guys like Luke Parkinson, you know, those are the guys that freshen things up and remind the rest of us how lucky we are to be doing this and remind us that, you know, what it's like to be doing it for the first time.
Someone's got to be the youngest on board. And I guess I'm the only one on board who hasn't done the race before, so it's quite good having people around you with so much experience. Everyone works really hard, and like we have a lot of fun while we're doing it, but we're here for one reason, and that's to win the Volvo race. So everyone's pretty driven in what they do, and even though looking in, sometimes we're sailors and we don't necessarily go to work 9 to 5, we definitely still put all the time in that we can.
We need a group of individuals who are all going to get on, they're going to pick each other up when things don't go well. Everyone's going to have an off day. Everyone's going to have times when they're down, when they make mistakes, when they get injured, you know, when they're missing home, whatever it is. So we need a group of people that want to spend time with each other. It's too long a time to sail around the world with people who you don't like, who are just there because they're good sailors.
A professional sailor's life is a nomadic and sometimes dangerous one. So family understanding and support is very important.
If you didn't have the support of your partner, your family, then it would be too hard. You know, to go home and have a battle every time because they don't want you going away to go and do what is essentially your job. You know, you're clearly doing the wrong thing. And you know, I'm very fortunate I'm not in that position. I guess my wife knew what she was marrying into. She doesn't treat me as Ian Walker, the skipper, at all, and so that keeps me very grounded. You know, when I go home, you know, I have to leave the skipper behind, I have to leave the race behind, and I have to concentrate on life at home and the kids, and so that's a good thing. Last race for us was very difficult for me personally because new sponsor, top designers, very strong sailing team, but we had issues. You know, we broke gear, the boat wasn't as fast as we'd all hoped, and so we had to manage, you know, a level of expectation and really underperforming for what everybody wanted to do. This time around, I don't feel the pressure yet. If things don't go well in the Volvo Ocean Race, the skipper feels the pressure big time. My biggest problem at the moment is my daughters are SCA fans, so my biggest problem is trying to persuade them to support me.
But Ian's connection with the all-female team goes way further than just his daughter's support for the opposition.
For quite a while I've been trying to imagine the start, and I've been coached by Ian Walker before in the past, so I quite like to imagine lining up on the start line, looking across and seeing Ian Walker, who was my coach, and sort of giving him a stare and then getting on racing. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to being lined up on the start line and yeah, beating the boys off the line.
For Annie and the rest of the women, the path to Alicante has been tough. It's no secret that for sportswomen, it's a real struggle to even find the backing to make it to the start line.
I'm not here to just sail around the world or just make up numbers or to tell a story, and I think every single one of my crew would probably have the same answer, and we're here to race around the world, and we have an amazing opportunity that SCA have given us. We've been training now for a year and a half, and that's way longer than any of the other teams, and that does make a difference, and we can feel it already. We know we're not as strong as the guys, so we've been just working so hard in the gym, and that is all going to count.
I think we're a really talented group of women, and we all have one goal, you know, and it's to be a group going together on, you know, as a team with this race. So I don't think there'll be anything different. I assume that's the same goal for the guys, you know, so I think on that level we're all in the same boat.
For all of the sailors, living the dream has a price, and it often means time apart from their loved ones.
For me, for sure, my life's changed, and I do have a family now, and it's hard sometimes because we are away for a long time. We have to wave goodbye to them, and now Ruben's old enough to say, Mama, I don't want you to go.
I didn't have any discussion about whether I was going to do this or not with my family. I think they know me now. I tend to set myself on a challenge and then kind of go off on it. But I'm not sure that my dad was so excited when I told him I was going to switch from Olympic sailing to offshore sailing. He competed in the 79 Fastnet and had a fatality on his boat, and he's been quite nervous of offshore since. So I think it was quite hard to tell him that I'd now decided to go. My mum says she can't watch the footage. She sort of makes her nervous.
Who wouldn't be concerned for their loved ones when they're battling the might of Mother Nature?
All the girls are really impatient to go now because we have been training for this for such a long time. We just can't wait to get out there and go racing, and I can feel that.
For many of the women, it's a totally new adventure filled with discovery. But for race veteran Iker Martinez, having to sail the one-design boat with new rules means a shift of style.
I think it's going to be more demanding, this boat, but I think the 65 is going to be more demanding because we have 2 less people on board, more than because it's going to be one design. The truth is that last time we were also racing very close each other, very, very close. So I think it's going to be pretty much the same, but 2 less guys on board, we saw that it's going to be much more difficult, much more.
Things may be changing at sea, but on land, there are things that will always remain the same.
Vamos, vamos, estira. The children are aware that their daddy is a sailor, that he's around the world. They watch the videos from past editions, and they talk about the huge waves and, oh daddy, I see you with the water on top of you. If my kids decided to be ocean sailors, I think I'd be worrying much more than I do now. Of course, if that's what they want to do and they are prepared for it, and their parent and their father teach them a bit, and he's confident, then I'll be confident as well. But it will be harder when the day comes.
We are here for winning the Volvo Ocean Race.
But the challenges have been huge.
It's a really good chance for a Chinese sailor to participate at this top level offshore sailing.
For me, these mornings are worth gold. The fact that I'm out in the ocean is important, and for me, I love this place. It's just such a special place to be. It's unpredictable, you don't know what's going to happen. In my job, I think it's extremely important not to forget what we're doing, For me, it's about sharing passion. When 8 people can do something together and clearly perform significantly better than they would do individually, is a fantastic feeling. There we go.
Passion is what made Team Alvi Medica become a reality. The passion of 2 friends who shared the same dream and the will to succeed.
Sometimes you wake up and you're like, wow, I'm going to do exactly what I want to do today. And that's certainly a very good feeling. My wife showed up today, that helps. But yeah, it's amazing, really. To have my family coming to see, the start.
But reaching that dream wasn't an easy journey.
Well, it's something that we were working on realistically for about 2.5 years, but it had been in the back of our minds, for the better part of 7-8 years. Certainly difficult, knocking down a lot of doors and talking to a lot of different companies and people.
How are you? Good to see you. Check.
There's the inexperience factor, definitely. It's probably a lot easier to secure sponsorship if you can walk into a boardroom and say you've done something like this, 5 times.
It can be tough at some points, but I think all in all, just watching him go through this entire process, I couldn't be more proud, and I think the only thing to do is be supportive.
Hard work and dedication finally paid off when Charlie and Mark travelled to Southampton to collect their Volvo Ocean 65.
We are climbing inside of Team Alvi Medica. for the first time. So this is going to be home for the next 18 months.
It's very important the technical side, but also from the human side, because we have to stay all together for a lot of times in the same boat, and you know, a boat is like a very, very small house, so...
In their sailing home, the crew is living and breathing 24/7 under the watchful eyes of their skipper. A new role for 30-year-old Charlie.
He's well aware of what he knows and what he doesn't know, so he's quite prepared to ask questions and say, I don't know, or I do know, and that is a sign of a good leader.
Try to collect as much information as I can before making decisions, try to work with everybody when possible, but you know, at the end of the day, indecision is a decision, so the decision rests with me, and I make the final ones, but it's definitely with input from everybody else on the squad.
The voice of experience is navigator Will Oxley, who has done the race 3 times and knows that the first leg will be a major test for the new crew.
The reality is that until you've done leg 1, you really don't know where you stand. I mean, for probably half the crew, they've never been at sea for longer than a week, and we're about to embark on a 20 to 25 day leg, so it's unknown territory.
But not all teams are facing the unknown. For some, the whole thing is pretty straightforward.
My name is Volvo Becking. I'm the skipper of Team Brunel, and we are here for winning the Volvo Ocean Race.
And to win, the 6 times race veteran has handpicked his team, focused their attentions on success, and prepared them to succeed.
Let's start with Andrew Cape. I think Andrew Cape is one of the best navigators, so not the best navigator in the world. He wants to win this race as well, and that's the reason why I've chosen him.
Remember the breathing.
Louis is maybe completely different. 0 experience in the Volvo Ocean Race, but a guy who's very willing to learn.
Louis, get your ass up.
John was one of the guys who we started this project with, and yeah, he's always like the easygoing guy, more or less. He looks like in a very relaxed mode, but he's always there with his mind, and he's having that experience. And again, even that he's the bowman, the dedicated bowman on our boat together with Rokos, and he's actually, he's as well a very fast helmsman.
We started a year and a half ago with Bauer and Gideon saying like, hey, we should get a Dutch team in the Volvo Ocean Race. So I'm very proud to sit here. We've got it now, but this is only the beginning. Now the hard part starts and we need to get better.
Push! Go, 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 go.
You see all our guys working right now, and nobody's moaning or bitching about it. It's just a part of the job, but they knew that from the beginning. We have to do it together as a team, and that's just, that works fantastic.
Leg 1 is around 3 weeks at sea, so the boats will be packed with provisions, and it's often the younger guys who are in charge of the food.
Today we are vacuum packing all the food, and we are starting off with muesli. It's very difficult to find something everybody likes, but this is Stefan, or OBR, and he's because Stefan only joined the team last month, so I ordered all the food, I made all the menus, and now Stefan is actually gonna execute it on the boat. He's gonna prepare it for us. So it's important that he gets involved into it.
Maybe you can talk and work at the same time, or?
No.
Not possible.
See, he's getting an attitude.
The race is very much a team's journey, but for some, it's also very personal.
My past record is not like most sailors here. I did a lot of dinghy sailing, Optimist, and then I did 470, really high level, full-time sports school. And then when I was 17, I got a bit of a setback. I got sick, I got a lymph cancer. So I quit sailing for 2 years. So I couldn't, I did, yeah, nothing. I learned in the past that life can be very short, so I'm gonna live it every day as there's no tomorrow.
With the One Design boat concept, the one-stop repair and maintenance boatyard is also a new addition to the race.
Couple of things, as new contractors come in, let's really try and be on top of getting them in our kit. So Triss, you're going to have a few coming in. So Cecile, if you...
Meet Nick. He's in charge of the boatyard. But Nick is not the run-of-the-mill manager. Involved with the race 4 times himself, he knows a little bit about sailing.
I grew up in Port Lincoln, which is a very tight-knit community, and one of the glue that binds the community there is sailing. So I grew up sailing my whole life.
Knowing the boats inside out is a must for Nick's team, but dealing with 7 sailing squads needs a lot of organisation.
Not on the tools. Fortunately enough for me, I've either worked with, had people working for me, worked under, sailed with, whatever it is, with at least 50% of every team. And we're going to do as much as we can for every team on that start line.
Nick is on top of the game with all of the crews, but at home, it's not that simple.
I have a 2-year-old toddler, and my wife is due to give birth in 3 weeks' time after the first maintenance period. So yes, I'm into operations, but my logistics weren't quite bang on there.
That's to say the least, as Nick may have to choose between missing the start of the race or the birth of his child. All the teams face different challenges, but one is facing a battle that goes way beyond just racing the other boats.
First of all, what we try to do is to develop offshore sailing in China, which is totally non-existent.
Chinese Olympic and world-class champions would gather together before undertaking a grueling selection process.
It's a really good chance for a Chinese sailor to participate at this top level offshore sailing.
The responsibility of harmonizing this young crew would require a skipper with bold ambitions.
My last edition was on board the winning team, but this time the story is a bit different. We have a lot of goals to achieve. We want to do a good result, but also we are here to learn sailing to Chinese guys, so it's a very ambitious job to do.
Our biggest challenge is that we have 3 different nationalities on board: Swedish, French, Chinese, and we're using a 4th language to communicate.
I know it will be complicated sometimes. I will maybe sometimes be a bit frustrated because we are not always 100% performance.
But that learning curve has proved to be far from simple. It's been a hard ride. There have been accidents and misfortune.
That's not so bad, huh?
I know we're really quite far from where we want to be. But it's funny, but that's what motivates the non-Chinese sailors in our team and the non-Chinese people. There is something going on. Something is happening between the people. Sometimes hard, sometimes easy, but there is a story.
It won't be easy for the underdog of the race, but one thing is sure, they're ready for a fight. A few weeks ago, a new boat joined the fleet. It's a race to the starting line for the Vestas team. Only an experienced skipper like 4-times race veteran Chris Nicholson could rise to the challenge of getting the team and the boat ready in less than 3 months.
But the challenges have been huge. You know, right at this point in time, we don't have our wet weather gear yet. Our food just arrived like 2-3 days ago. So there's been a massive logistical hurdle.
But Chris will stop at nothing to get his team ready on time.
I like to be tested, and nothing that I've found in sport or I guess in life to date has tested me as much as this race.
Like most of the other sailors, Chris is simply addicted to the race.
It's well and truly in my blood, this race, and it's not. I quite enjoy the fact that I've done 4 races now, and I don't need to come back and do it, but I love to come back and do it. And then, as you get older, you appreciate the wind and the waves and water and all the really good things about. It's still an adventure.
What Nikolai is understanding quite quickly here is that it's all grinding around the whole world. That's it. That's all we do. And pull ropes.
For the younger guys, there's a moment to taste the glamorous sailor's life.
This is day 5 of sailing, and I haven't changed my socks yet. And the same goes for the rest of my underwear. Wool socks shouldn't be smelled that much. What do you think?
With good spirits, lots of hard work and a solid plan, the crew is making up for their shortage of time.
We have to do the unexpected, you know. We're very much the little guy who's gonna sneak on the big guys and trying to pinch their ideas and knowledge. So there we go.
But these athletes know there's still work to be done. The 70,000 kilometer race starts in just a few days. Next week, pressure is mounting. Nick is racing not to miss his baby's birth. And finally, the sailors do what they do best.